At my sister's wedding, my 17-year-old daughter was excluded because she was considered too young. I didn't argue. I simply said we wouldn't be attending. But when Christmas came, I made one quiet change, and that was when all hell broke loose. My name's Claire, and I'm the oldest of 3 sisters. Growing up, I was the dependable one, the helper, the babysitter, the one who stepped in whenever our parents were overwhelmed or busy. It wasn't a problem for me, at least at first. It was just how things were. Tessa, the middle child, was the entertainer, the one who always commanded attention. Rachel, the youngest, was the family baby, the one who could do no wrong. And me? I was the one cleaning up after them. As I grew older and became a mother, I expected things to change a bit, but not as much as I hoped. I adopted my daughter Maya when she was 3. She had large, serious eyes and a quiet way of observing everything, as if the world had to earn her trust. I'll never forget the first time she called me Mom. I cried in the car afterward, driving home from preschool. From the very start, I promised her she would never feel like an outsider in our family, that she would always be wanted. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep that promise. Last spring, Tessa got engaged. There was the big announcement, the giant diamond ring, and of course a huge Instagram post. I congratulated her, naturally. Maya even made her a card, cutting out little wedding bells and covering them with far too much glitter. Tessa said it was sweet, but left it in the back of her car. I found it 2 weeks later, crushed under a Starbucks cup. Still, Maya was excited about the wedding. She started looking up dresses, asking if she should wear her hair up or down. I could tell she was a little nervous, but there was hope in her eyes. She just wanted to be part of it. Then the invitation arrived. It was one of those heavy, expensive ones with gold trim. Definitely cost more than my monthly water bill. I opened it at the kitchen counter while Maya sat at the table, working on her homework. As I read the details, location, attire, RSVP link, I saw it. Adults only 18 plus, strictly enforced, no exceptions. I read it again, thinking I missed something, but I hadn't. Maya noticed the look on my face before I even said a word. She glanced up from her notebook and asked, "She doesn't want me there?" I told her it was an 18-plus wedding, but she paused for a moment and then asked, "Is it because I'm adopted?" Her question broke something inside of me. She said it so matter-of-factly, as though it was something she had come to accept. I told her no, of course not, but I understood exactly what she meant. It wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Not this exact situation, but there were other moments, little comments that slipped by unnoticed. Once, my mom introduced Maya as Claire's girl, never our granddaughter. Tessa would refer to her as your daughter, like she was a neighbor's child. At family gatherings, Maya would offer to help in the kitchen, and no one would even acknowledge her. I tried to believe it was unintentional, that they didn't mean anything by it, but this time, it was clear. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just went online and clicked, not attending. No explanation. No excuses. Just a no. I thought that would be the end of it. The next day, Tessa texted me. "Hey, I saw your RSVP. Is everything okay?" She followed up. "If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand. We're being super consistent with everyone. Nothing personal, right?" "Not personal? Except Maya is her niece, and she's 17, not 7. I didn't respond. Then Rachel texted me. "Tessa said you're not coming. What's going on?" My mom called me. She never calls just to chat, so I knew something was coming. "Claire," she said, "I heard you're not going to the wedding. Is it really about the age limit?" I replied, "Maya's not invited. I'm not going without her. She's almost 18. My mom responded, "It's not like she's a little kid. She's family." There was a pause and then she added, "Don't punish your sister over this. It's just one night." I didn't argue. I just said, "We're not going," and hung up. That should have been the end of it, but then came the group chat messages, the guilt trips, and the not-so-subtle comments. Rachel couldn't believe I was making such a big deal out of one rule. "Maya's not the only one not coming. This isn't about her. You're making it about her." My mom sent a long message about family unity and forgiveness, about how we've all made sacrifices, about how hard it is to be in the middle. I didn't reply. Maya deleted the dress photos from her phone. She stopped talking about the wedding. She didn't cry, but I think that was what hurt me the most, how unsurprised she was. She had already learned what I spent too long trying to ignore. So, when Christmas came around and no one apologized or even brought it up, I made a quiet decision. I didn't invite them. No big announcement. No drama. Just silence. And that's when they got really angry. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what motherhood would look like, I would have said birthday parties, messy hugs, glitter everywhere. I never would have guessed I'd be trying to protect my child from people who claim to love us both. When Maya came into my life, she was 3 years old. Heartbreakingly serious, with big brown eyes, soft curls, and a quiet gaze that made you feel like she was memorizing everything you said, just in case she needed it to survive you. She didn't warm up quickly. She didn't giggle on command. She didn't rush into my arms like in the movies. But when she finally reached for my hand in the grocery store, without being prompted, I cried in the parking lot for 10 minutes. My husband Ethan said that was the moment she chose me, and I've been choosing her every day since. But my family never knew quite how to handle her. At first, I chalked it up to awkwardness, adjusting barely. She didn't have my eyes. She didn't carry my last name yet. She didn't jump into conversations at holidays the way the other kids did. But it was more than that. It was how my mom referred to her as the little one, instead of Maya. It was how Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" While Maya was standing right there. It was how Rachel's kids received personalized Easter baskets from our parents, while Maya got one with a generic, Happy Spring tag. It wasn't overt. It was quieter than that, softer, easier to excuse if you wanted to, but Maya noticed. She always noticed. I tried to be patient. I really did. I explained, redirected, gave them the benefit of the doubt. But when Maya was 6, she told my dad she wanted to be an artist. He smiled and said, "You'll need something more practical than that." When she was 8, she drew a picture of our family, me, Ethan, and her, and gave it to my mom. My mother smiled, said thank you, then set it down and never mentioned it again. Later, Maya asked why it wasn't on the fridge like the other cousins' drawings. I didn't know how to answer. The first time I truly lost my patience was at Rachel's engagement party. Maya was 12. Rachel had sent out a mass text with the time, date, and venue. There was no personal message, just a "can't wait to see you." But we went anyway because I thought this was how we could change things, by continuing to show up. Maya wore a soft blue dress and little silver flats that she picked out herself. She was nervous, constantly asking if she looked okay, and if she could stay close to me at the party. Rachel greeted us with a tight smile and a quick hi, then turned to hug the next person without acknowledging Maya at all. No compliment. No. "You look so grown up." Just air. We stayed for maybe 20 or 25 minutes, with Maya staying by my side the entire time. On the way home she said, "I don't think she likes me." I told her, "She doesn't know you." She responded, "She's had 10 years to get to know me," and I had no answer. The truth is, I don't think they ever fully accepted that Maya wasn't just a temporary part of our lives. Part of them must have thought I'd eventually have a real child, and that this whole chapter would become a sweet memory to refer to. Remember when Claire fostered that little girl? They never said it aloud, but it was there unspoken. Last year, for Maya's 16th birthday, we rented a space at the community center and decorated it with her artwork, her idea. She didn't want a big party with loud music. She wanted to display her paintings, serve cupcakes, and invite the people who had supported her. She made the invitations herself and sent them to family, friends, and a few teachers. Rachel didn't come. Neither did Tessa. My parents arrived 30 minutes late and handed us a card that read, "To a sweet girl," with a $20 bill inside. Maya thanked them, as she always does. She didn't say much, just helped clean up and put her canvases back in the car. But later that night, after everything was done, I found one of her sketches. It was a drawing of the three of us, her, me, and Ethan, at the party, but our faces were blank. I think that's when I stopped hoping they would change. Not because of the late arrival or the lack of effort, but because Maya didn't even seem to care anymore. She wasn't hurt in the same way she once was. She had stopped being surprised. And that scared me more than anything. So when the wedding invitation never came, not even a phone call or a conversation, just a quiet exclusion, I knew what had to be done. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I didn't try to negotiate. I simply told Maya we wouldn't be going. She didn't cry. She just nodded quietly and said, "Okay." Later that night, she asked, "Do you think they even realize we didn't go?" I told her, yes, because she needed to know that she mattered, even if they didn't act like it. While the wedding weekend unfolded, we stayed home. Ethan made French toast for breakfast. Maya spent the afternoon painting in the sunroom. I even managed to finish a book from start to finish. It wasn't an act of rebellion. It wasn't a grand protest. It was simply peace. And at first, it felt strange. That kind of silence makes you realize just how much noise you've grown accustomed to over the years. I didn't miss the wedding. I didn't wonder about the ceremony, the flowers, or whether the cake turned out. Instead, I thought about Maya. How for so long, she searched for their approval in every conversation, every holiday, every family gathering, and how little by little, they taught her not to expect it. Then I thought about the next holiday. For years, I had hosted Christmas out of obligation, inviting them, feeding them, pretending their empty smiles were enough. But this year, I decided not to. In early December, Ethan asked, "Should I go ahead and order the folding chairs?" I shook my head. No extra seats this time. He didn't question it. Maya didn't either. Then the family group chat lit up. "Who's bringing dessert to Claire's this year? Should we arrive the night before like usual?" I didn't answer. I just let the messages pile up unopened. I didn't announce that I wasn't hosting Christmas. There was no dramatic speech or bold social media post telling everyone to find another place for their passive-aggressive holiday cheer. I simply stayed silent. And somehow, that silence became the loudest thing I had ever done. By December 15th, the tone of the messages started to shift. Rachel wrote, "Claire, are we still doing Christmas Eve dinner at your place? Let me know what I should bring." Then Tessa added, "We'll be 5 again. Let me know if Maya wants anything specific this year. If she's even going to be there this time." That one nearly broke me. If she's even going to be there this time. As if Maya was the problem. As if she was the one who failed. Rather than the one who had been deliberately left out. For the first time in years, I didn't reply. I didn't scrub the house from top to bottom. I didn't pre-order a roast. I didn't haul out the extra folding chairs or drag the big dining table leaf from the garage. And when no one got a response, they started calling. First, it was my mom. I let it ring. Then Rachel, then Tessa, and finally my dad, who left a voicemail. "Claire, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing." The right thing? As if opening my home to people who had excluded my daughter was the righteous choice. As if feeding them could somehow fix things they refused to even acknowledge. We didn't host anyone that year. Instead, Ethan and I made lasagna in our pajamas while Maya baked sugar cookies that were barely holding together. We stayed in, watched movies, opened presents early. We laughed more than we had in months. And for once, our holiday actually felt like home. No one walked on eggshells. No one had to translate pointed comments. No one got quiet when Maya entered the room. It was just us. And that's when the messages started to change. On December 26th, Tessa texted in the group chat. "It's just heartbreaking. We've all tried to embrace Maya, but Claire's actions have made it impossible for us to truly connect with her. Rachel, I mean, if you cut ties with family every time there's conflict, eventually, you'll end up alone. Dad, what you're doing here is just cruel. I'm sorry, but it is." My mom sent me a picture of their Christmas tree with the caption, "It wasn't the same without you." Maya would have loved those gifts. But I didn't reply, because those weren't gifts for Maya. They were guilt-laden invitations to return and pretend everything was fine. And I had done that long enough. A few days later, a card arrived in the mail. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. It was from my mother. It said, "I hope you'll consider the example you're setting. Maya will see how easily you push people away." That stuck with me, because I realized that's exactly what I want Maya to see. Not that love is disposable, But that real love doesn't expect you to shrink yourself. It doesn't ask you to remain silent while others ignore your pain. Maya didn't ask about the messages, but I know she noticed the tension. She's not one to ask directly. She just observes, absorbing everything, still trying to figure out which parts of the world are safe. One evening, she was curled up on the couch with a blanket, sketching something. Then she paused and asked, "Do you think they'd like me more if I wasn't adopted?" The question hit harder than any text message could. I sat beside her. "Sweetheart, they might pretend better, but how they treat people who are different from them was never about you." She looked at me with those same serious eyes she had when I first met her and said, "I don't think I want them to like me anymore." That's when I stopped waiting for an apology. A few days later, my father called. I let it ring. Then I received a text from him. "Your mother isn't sleeping. She feels like she's lost you. We know we messed up, but that doesn't justify cutting everyone off. That's not who you are." I stared at that message for a long time. That's not who you are. I used to wonder about that. I questioned whether I was too cold, too sensitive, too harsh. But now I know this is who I am. I'm someone who finally knows what she will and won't tolerate. Someone who understands that keeping peace at the cost of your child's dignity isn't noble. It's cowardice disguised as tradition. The final straw came from Tessa. She sent a voice memo, one of those long rambling ones where people try to sound calm, but every sentence cuts deep. "I just think it's sad, Claire. You always talked about how much you loved Maya, but now it feels like you're using her as a shield. Like every time someone doesn't treat her like royalty, you cut them out. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession." I didn't listen to the rest. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Because if loving Maya fiercely and completely is seen as obsession in their world, then yes, I'm obsessed. I'm unapologetically obsessed with protecting the person who needed me most. And nothing they say will make me regret it. That New Year's came and went quietly. Maya fell asleep before midnight, a half-eaten cookie in her lap. Ethan and I toasted with tea instead of champagne, and watched the fireworks in silence. He looked at me and asked, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it. "No," I replied. "I miss the idea of them, but that version of them never really existed." He nodded and didn't say anything more. He just reached for my hand. "I'm not sure what's next. I'm sure they'll keep trying. There will be more texts, more posts. Maybe one of them will show up at Maya's graduation, acting like nothing happened. But I've made my decision. There's no big confrontation coming. No dramatic showdown. Just quiet distance. And sometimes, that's the most powerful choice of all." It happened on a Thursday, cold and overcast, quiet. I had just returned from work, still in my coat, when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Ethan was working late, and Maya was upstairs, preparing a portfolio for her college applications. When I opened the door, there they were, my parents, standing on my porch as if nothing had changed, as if it were still 2007, and we were pretending everything was fine. My mom was holding a Tupperware container. I think they were oatmeal cookies, her specialty. Soft in the middle, slightly burnt around the edges. The kind she used to make when I was little. "Claire," she said with a little breathy smile. "We thought we'd stop by." I didn't say anything right away, just stared at the container like it might explode. My dad shifted beside her. "Can we come in just for a minute?" "No," I said. There was a pause, but it wasn't long enough to matter. My mom tried again. "We just wanted to talk. Things got heated, but we're still your family." She offered the cookies like some kind of peace offering. I didn't take them. That's when her smile began to fade. "You don't have to be like this," she said, her voice tightening. "We know it's been hard raising a teenager." "Pushing everyone away," my dad added. "We tried to be patient. We gave you space, but this, you're going to lose your real family over a girl who's going to leave in a few months." My stomach twisted. "She's 17, my mom said softly. "She'll go off to college soon. And then what? You'll be alone. You'll regret this." I could hear the unspoken words underneath. This wasn't about reconciliation. It was about control. Then my mother said it. The thing I think she'd always believed deep down. "I'm sorry, Claire, but she's not blood. She's not really one of us. She said it so gently, like she was doing me a favor, expecting me to nod and agree. Instead, I took a deep breath, stepped back, and said, "You need to leave right now." My dad looked stunned. "Claire," he said. "No," I said louder this time. "You don't get to come here with cookies and pity and act like this is kindness. You don't get to insult my daughter to my face, and then wonder why I'm not letting you in. You'll regret this," my mom said, her voice cracking now. "When she leaves you, when she forgets about you, you'll see. Our door will still be open. You'll come back. You'll realize we were right." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it until I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. The next day, I told Maya what had happened. I didn't want her to carry their poison. But I've never lied to her. Not about anything important. She sat still as I told her what they said about her leaving, about not being blood, about how I'd come crawling back one day. She didn't cry, but I saw it in her hands, how tightly she clenched them, how her shoulders stiffened. "They really think I'll leave you?" she asked. "No," I said. "They hope you will. But I'll meet them again." She nodded slowly. "They don't get to hope things about me," she said. I thought that would be the end, but a week later, my cousin Sarah forwarded me an email Rachel had sent to the family. It was long, rambling, passive-aggressive, the way only Rachel could be. But the point was clear. She claimed I had abandoned the family, accused Maya of being manipulative, ungrateful, and said my relationship with her was unhealthy, that I was obsessed with protecting her from imagined wrongs. It was vile, and worse, it worked. People started reaching out. Aunt Linda texted me to ask if everything was okay. Uncle John reached out to Ethan to check if I was having a breakdown. My second cousin, Chloe, left a comment under one of Maya's art posts. "You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home." Maya saw it, and I saw her see it. That was the final straw. I didn't respond. Instead, I gathered everything, screenshots, old messages, photos, every ignored invite, every moment of exclusion. I compiled it into a case file, not emotional, not bitter, just facts. Then I wrote a letter. No anger, no theatrics, just the truth. I sent it to our extended family with the subject line, "For those who want the full story." I didn't ask them to choose sides. I didn't beg for apologies. I simply told the truth. Some replied, some didn't. A few quietly unfriended Rachel. Some refused to believe a word. But that didn't matter because I wasn't doing this for them. I was doing it for Maya. So she'd never doubt what truly happened. So she'd never have to wonder, "Do you think they'd like me more if I were blood?" After that, I blocked everyone who tried to argue. Everyone who said, "Maybe if you just talked it through." Everyone who believed that preserving peace was more important than protecting a child from emotional neglect disguised as family values. We never heard from them again, at least not directly. I'm sure they still talk about us. They probably tell the story of difficult children when someone brings up Maya's name. Let them talk. They gave up their right to know her. Fast forward, Maya's in college now. She's in an art program, top of her class. She still calls me every night, not because she has to, but because she wants to. She sends me pictures of her sketches. Sometimes she asks for my thoughts. Sometimes she just wants to say goodnight. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me for a full minute and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." She may have meant it physically, but I knew what she truly meant. People like to say you can't choose your family, but I did. I chose her. Over blood, over guilt, over decades of inherited silence. And if anyone's still waiting for me to come crawling back, let them wait. Every now and then, I think about that moment on the porch, my mother handing me that box of cookies. As if sugar could erase years of silence. As if baked goods could fix everything they were too afraid to say out loud. And sometimes in the quiet of night, I ask myself, did I overreact? Should I have been more patient, stayed quieter, shown more grace? But then I remember Maya's face the day I told her, "They don't get to treat you like that." I remember the way she held me when we said goodbye at college. And most of all, I remember the promise I made, the one no one ever made to me when I was a child, that I would choose her every single time. Do you think I did the right thing? Let me know in the comments. And if you'd like more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.